What's going on, everybody? Oh man, I am unprepared. Let me just fix up some of this here. Let's get the right windows up. Yeah, there we go. And let's fix the Chiron. Knew I forgot to do something. So what we're doing tonight is we're doing a little JavaScript, which I know a lot of people don't love JavaScript. I like JavaScript. I don't know why it gets so much hate. People need it. It makes websites do cool things. Granted, it also lets you get tracked, but you know, that's a different issue. That's not the tool's fault, that's the person's fault. So, what we're gonna do, I'm excited. We're gonna write an application for Hackspiration, Hacker Inspiration. And we're gonna do it in Node.js just because it's been a while since I worked with Node and I wanted to not get rusty with it. Pun unintended. But what we're doing is we're gonna do kind of inspiration for when you get stuck, which I do all the time when you're doing either a blue team or a red team kind of security project. For me, that's the project I want to put together. So you could take this same idea and apply it to whatever you want to do, but this is inspired by Brian Eno's Oblique Strategies. And I don't know if you're familiar with Brian Eno's Oblique Strategies, but essentially Brian Eno, famous composer, music producer, he wrote this deck of cards that he kept with him, and whenever he got stuck on a creative problem, he would pull out one of these cards and try to pursue that strategy to get out of whatever kind of block he was in. And this site here actually has a really cool representation of these strategies, right? So they don't seem like they're going to help. They just seem like kind of weird approaches, the oblique, right? But that's what makes them so brilliant, is by trying to get at problems in these different ways, often you come up with solutions you wouldn't otherwise have come up with. And I love them. Right, look at the order in which you do things. Go slowly all the way around the outside. Go outside, shut the door. You know, there are a lot of incredible kind of approaches to things in here. Just carry on. Right? Go to an extreme, move back to a more comfortable place. That get you out of whatever rut you're in, creatively or from an engineering perspective, whatever you're doing. I really like the way that this forces you to approach problems. Now, some of them are directly relevant and some are not to the work that I do every day. So I started putting together some of my own get blue up here. My own strategies here that I thought were going to be relevant for security work. So I've got two lists. One is blue.txt. Google something. How did they communicate? Zoom out. Is it normal? Just logs. Talk to the system builder. Verify policy from the outside in. That was just straight from Eno. Expose blind spots. Normal children of normal parents. Big processes. What happened before that, right? Always go back. And these are just beginning lists. I haven't finalized them entirely, but it's a start. And for the red team, I have, use the bigger list. What haven't you enumerated? What seems irrelevant? Buzz something. What do you own? What's running? How could they have been lazy? Write the tool you need. So often I'll not want to have to solve the problem by the way that I know I could build it because it would take longer. Google something. This one saved my bacon actually the other day. I was stuck on something and I just consulted this list, and sure enough, Google something paid off. Take the hard time. What have you left behind? Reverse direction. And So these are starters, right? I haven't completely come up with all of them, and this is going to be on GitHub, and they're certainly going to be open to pull requests for folks to add to it. But the idea is I want to create kind of a front end, right? That a site kind of like what you see here, maybe a little nicer looking, and an API that's on the back end. And the API is what we're going to build with Node.js. And that's what we have here with the index.js. And I'm just getting started because I wanted to do this live with all of you. So if you haven't worked with Node or Express or JavaScript at all, this is a great way to get started, I think, because it introduces you gently to a lot of the concepts in JavaScript. So the first thing that let's talk about our environment here. So let's do an ls on our project. You can see that I've got, ignore the colors because Windows does weird things with Linux file permissions. But we've got the license, the README, we've got an API folder, and then the two text files, blue and red. And then in the API folder, what do we have? We have index.js. Now this is going to be the server that runs, the server file that runs when we kick this off. A folder called node modules, which is dependencies for Node.js projects. And then package.json and yarn.lock. These are files that manage our dependencies. And I am using the yarn. Do I have yarn installed? Crap, I don't. I'll just get yarn then. Why I can't? I'm using yarn instead of npm for reasons, but I'm curious why. Yeah. That would be why. Oh, I ran into this before where I had to do this like weird thing because the pathing was weird. Well, fine. Yeah, that doesn't work. So I'll just do this. User local lib node modules yarn bin yarn. I'm gonna sudo this to user local bin yarn. Yeah, there we go. Dope. Okay, so if I need to install a dependency for my project, I can do that. But let's, if you've never looked at a yarn or a Node.js package, let's take a look at that. Let's open up a new tab here. Just some simple JSON where we have the name of the project. And my plan is to have both the API and the front end in the same repository and deploy both of them with Docker and join them together with the Docker Compose file. So that's why I've kind of subdivided the project this way. So rather than having two different code repositories, which would just be unwieldy, I am going to separate the services with Docker containers, but they'll have their own dependency management. So anyway, so API, the version description, and then here you have finally the list of dependencies, one of which is Express, which is what we're working with here. And Express is essentially, it's a web server / router for JavaScript and Node. And Node, I should back up, if you're not super familiar with Node, the whole idea is to execute JavaScript outside the context of the web browser. It uses the V8 runtime that Chrome uses to execute JavaScript in the browser, but it does so on an operating system. And it has some really powerful abilities, and it's actually pretty fast. I know a lot of people like to use Python, like to use Flask for projects, and I've used Flask for projects, including my passphrase generator. You go to passphrase.tigertech.com, right? Wordy Griever, that's a good one. Livid Bolus, awesome. I love this thing. This is written in Flask, but it turns out it's actually kind of slow. And I wanted to see what the performance difference might be for using Node for this. And I've used Node a bunch in the past. So that's what we're doing. So let's just take a look at where we are so far. We haven't even loaded the card files or anything like that. We want to get the server running. So we are importing with the require function, the express library, and we're also importing the file system module from Node. The pathing for this is that Node will immediately look for the Node modules folder and look inside there for an Express folder and an FS, which is why this all works and why the Node modules folder is in there. And if we do ls for Node modules in this thing, you'll see that it's gigantic, right? In fact, I installed one dependency, right? I installed Express, and what do I get? It's already 2.4 megs. The Node modules folder can get pretty big on you. So, all right, let's start our code here. So we have, we're bringing the app, we're initializing it to the Express object, we're adding a route of /API. And then we're going to say on a GET request, on an HTTP GET request, we're going to do this thing. Now the GET request takes what we call a callback function, which is what you're looking at here. The callback function takes two arguments, a request and a response. And then we're going to, with the response, just send the text yo. So that's the plan for when we get a request on the /API path. Now, to start this off, we run app.listen, and we're listening on port 3000. This can be configured via environment variable or whatever else, which we'll do later. And then we're just gonna, to the console, we're gonna write listening. In fact, let's make this a little bit more explicit. Const port equals 3000. Yeah. And port, and then we'll do string templating. So backticks listening on port. That's it there. Okay. And then we're going to just run it down here in this folder. Okay, so it's listening on 3000. Come over to my web browser, localhost 3000. It says cannot get /, which is correct because I didn't create a route for that. But if I do /API, so the idea for the application architecture is that the / is going to be handled just by a static folder. And I'm going to use Nginx as my web server to handle both of these. You never want to expose your Node server straight to the internet. Now people do, as a matter of fact. Let's check that out. On Shodan. I have a Shodan account. What? Well, that sucks. What's wrong with Shodan? Oh no. Alright, well, people use Node exposed directly to the internet, but you're not supposed to. The server really can't isn't meant to handle that kind of thing. So what you do is you put Nginx in front of it as kind of a reverse proxy and send it locally to port 3000, and then let Nginx kind of report back and handle the load management from there. Okay, so now that we've got our... Let's kill the server here, because we need to kill it and restart it every time we make a change. So let's change this up a little bit. One of the things that we can do with Node that's pretty cool is router.method is provide URL parameters like this, /user and then ID. So what I want to do is I basically want to create a color parameter, because I want to respond to red, I want to respond to blue, and that's what I want to, that's it. What's up, Chad? So to get access to that color, we have to get the request.params, and it'll be saved as .color in that namespace. So what we'll do is we'll actually send, just to show it first, we'll do some string templating and say you're asking for rec.params.color. Restart the node server. And can I get /API, because now it wants us to do /color. So if I do red, cool. And then can I cross-site scripting myself? No. So that's great. It URL encodes this for me, so I don't have to worry about that too much. It's very funny. But so with each of those, then, you know, we've got the red list of cards and we've got the blue list of cards, right? There's our blue list. For those just popping in, what we're doing is we're doing an inspiration project for security workers. So based on Brian Eno's oblique strategies, right? Where every time you go, you get this kind of weird new strategy for getting past a problem. And I'm putting together a list of those sorts of inspirations for blue team and for red team. And the idea is that the API will respond with a random one of these, depending on what color you're asking for from the API. So let's put some configuration checks in here first, right? So we want to do switch rec.params.color. Case red. And we'll do kind of like get red with the with res, send the response over to that so that it can handle it. And I want to make sure I'm getting the... It's been so long since I've done a switch in JavaScript. Yeah. I guess we could do this inline for now. We won't do get red. We'll do res.send red and then break case blue. And actually, let's normalize the string with to lower. Case blue and res.send blue. Can you tell that I work more in JavaScript than I do in Rust and F#, based on other streams? And then default. Res.status 500 or 404, I guess, would be not found. Res.send. And because our data isn't really structured, it's just plain text, we don't have to worry about JSON or anything just yet. We can later, but for now, this is enough. So let's get the server running again. Uh-oh. Unexpected identifier. What'd I do wrong? Oh, that has to be parenthesized, doesn't it? Yep. Okay. So API/red gives us red and an error. We'll see what this is about. Cannot set headers after they are sent to the client. And where did we try to do that? Oh, crap. Yes, we did accidentally try to do that with this vestigial res.send, which I'll just blow away. Okay, let's try that again. Red. Boo-boo. Let's try all caps, make sure the lowercase works. Okay. Purple. No such color found. It'd be a fun Easter egg, actually. You put in a purple, and it'll give you a random from either list. Okay, so now we actually have to load the file and deal with it. Now, here's the thing with loading files in Node. You can do it synchronously or you can do it asynchronously. And in this particular case, because we're going to be loading the card data kind of at runtime, and then we're going to treat the lines as an array that we randomly choose something from. The honest truth is that we only need to load it the one time, so it can be synchronous. It doesn't have to be async for the loading of the file. But let's get up the Node documentation and make sure we have the... Nope, that's wrong every time. It's at Node.js. So it's expressjs.com, but it's nodejs.org. Okay. What version of Node am I currently running? 10.19. It's so good that the version... You know what? Sudo npm ign. There is... There is a version of n, or there's a package. Let me try that again. there's a package for Node called N, which will manage Node versions. You can see that it's pulling down a new version of Node, right? And now if I do Node version, I should be on 15. Yeah. Wow, that's interesting. So that all still works. I wonder why, if that's why I couldn't do something that I was trying to do earlier. So this syntax here for require is actually, I think, old. We shouldn't need to do it. What should work is yeah. So it does work. So instead of all of this, we should be able to just do import express. And here, same thing. Oops. Import fs. A little bit cleaner. And this will kind of create this namespace for us. Yeah. Okay. Oh, for the love of God. Cannot use import statement outside of a module. Alright, never mind then. I really thought you could. That's what I get for spending most of my JavaScript time writing in like React or something else that transpiles down. But okay. So we're on version 15 now, so let's go to the file system. And it's data from the file and stores that in the given buffer. Option is okay. Is there a read ASCII or something like that that makes this a little bit easier so I don't have to deal with all the... Oh, wait. Here we go. No. There we go. That's what we want. So let's go define our files here. I should probably spell file correctly. That's gonna help, I think, in the long run. And this is going to be the prelude here. So I'm going to say red cards. We're going to initialize the variables, and then we're going to say, yeah, you know what? No, that's still... fs.read file. Let's do this a better way. Red cards, blue cards. For each. Call that the array. Say fs.read file. Nope, that's dumb. That's not gonna work. We'll start with fs.read file. Read file. And say error data or the arguments for our callback. We'll say if error, same deal, basically throw error. Otherwise, we're going to say red cards equals data. Now, because we're doing this twice, I'm going to create a function that does this. And so we'll kind of abstract this out. Okay. Cool. And then we'll call load cards with red file and red cards, right? So we'll get those loaded up, and then we do the same thing for the blue cards. Okay. And now I believe there's technically a race condition in here, but I'm not too concerned about it because since this is synchronous, right, theoretically the load could happen before the server could start up before the load happens, but I don't think it's that much of a concern, certainly given our size. So see how that goes. And then we're going to need another function, which is drawing a card. And call that deck. And actually, just to be consistent, I'm going to change this variable name to deck. Okay, so draw card. Basically, we can one-liner this thing to do a random draw. We're gonna do deck, and here we do math.floor, math.random times deck.length. This might seem like a lot, especially if you're coming from Python to do a random choice, but that's how you do it. So basically you do, oh wait, hold on a second. Yeah, no, that's right. Sorry. So we're taking random and we're multiplying it up to how many items are on the deck, and then we floor it, so we round it down, and that will give us a random integer between 0 and the top index of the array. All right. Now, one problem is right now, data is a string. So I need to split that. Shit. So if I split it on nothing, it'll give me just every individual character. But what I think I'm gonna want is a split on a new line for these cards. Like so. And say so instead of res.send red, let's try res.send draw a card, red cards. And same deal here. Okay. That was a lot, so let's see what inevitable mistakes I've made. There you go. No such file or directory. Of course not, because it's one level up. We should be ... Data.split is not a function. Okay, what form is data? Oh crap. Should have given it UTF-8. There's lo-fi, then there's lo-fi. Okay. Some days with the music. Let's try this. A little bit better. Now, this should load as a string now, so okay. API read. Cannot read property length of undefined. My favorite undefined errors in JavaScript. This right here is why, you know, people would go to, you know, a type safe language like TypeScript or like Elm, or, you know, literally anything else but JavaScript, basically. Even Python has the option to do typing these days. But not vanilla JavaScript. Alright, so what am I doing wrong here? Oh, wait. Draw card was the error, right? Or was it? Yes, draw card was definitely the error. And of course it is, because Alright, time to do some lame debugging here. So it's undefined. Let's do this a slightly different way. That way we're saving, so there's an object that exists, right? And then I'm also going to console.log the data just to make sure we're getting something back here. Just to solve the problem. And here we'd load the cards into red, blue, and here we would do load cards red, load cards blue. And in fact, if I wanted to be a little bit more clever about it, I would say const red equals red, like that. In fact, let's do that. That way, there's no mistaking what it is we're referring to. Const red equals red, and const blue equals blue. And then draw a card dex dot red. Dex dot blue. Actually, I don't think it'll work. Okay. Let's see how that did. Console.log data. Great. I should be getting yelled at more for stuff like that. Hey, we got data though. Look at that. So this is working. But notice that Dex is still an empty object. Because it needs to be asynchronous. We have to write it in an asynchronous method. So basically, the way that we do that is with a callback. And here we would just say callback. So we would call the callback from inside the callback from fsread file. Welcome to JavaScript. And then here, we could do it with promises, I guess, but I don't feel like writing promises manually right now, so we'll just do it this way. So here with the callback, that's our callback right there. That should do better for us. Son of a... Let me see if Dex is still undefined when we get into here. I'm pretty sure it is, but... what I get for not writing a Node application for like 2 years. Hey, hey! So Dex is defined by then. Oh, but... Oh, the issue is not... Okay. Stop red. Stop blue. There we go. Now we're cooking with gas. And if you want to see it on the command line, which why wouldn't you? Let's curl localhost 3000/red /API/red. And if we do purple, no such color found. Now if we do -V, we'll get the verbose, and that should tell us that it's a 404, right, rather than a 200, which is what I get for that. All right, API is working. Happy with that. Now I can get rid of this console. Don't need that anymore. Alright. So now that we have the API working, basically, what do we need to do next? Well, front end, I guess. And also the web server. So let's kill this for a moment. It's pretty much good with the API as it is. So let's kind of we'll get add working API. Go ahead and push that. And up goes. If you want to follow along, you can check us out at mtagger/hackstrategies. I'm working on branch API right now. Not main. And let's see. Although, since we have the working API, I can actually do that. I can do the pull request. Son of a... I can do the pull request here and get it over into the... You know, it's nice when you're your own pull request approver. So from here, I can use co main. Weird. Hmm. So those shouldn't be there if I'm in the main branch, because I didn't make them there. Why is that happening? Alright, fine. Oh, git. If you ever want to have fun, go search some commit messages on GitHub. My personal favorite is searching for the commit called idiot. 484,000. Always makes you feel better. Fantastic. So now, with that pulled, yeah, I don't know why it says that I'm ahead. I'm not. Oh, apparently it thinks I am. But whatever. Now that I've taken care of the Git housekeeping, time to check out to a new branch, and we'll call this. Do I want to do Docker or do I do an Nginx right now? I want to do the front end. I think I want to do the front end. That'll be more fun. Okay, so for this I'm going to make dir front end. And then go in there, front end. Oop, just kidding. Before I do anything in the front end, I'm going to echo front end / node modules to the git ignore file, because I don't want to have to deal with that. So we'll just ignore that. Okay, cd front end. We'll do yarn init. Fine, fine. Fine. Not worried about that so much. Okay. Now, what do I need to make this front end work? Honestly, nothing. But if I wanted to use something, what could I use? Well, I could use React, of course. That's probably a little much for my needs, but not the worst idea. Now, I wonder if... It's been a minute since I've done this kind of front-endy stuff. Is HyperApp still around? Yes, it is. I love HyperApp. Why do I love HyperApp? Because it's like React, but much tinier. And it uses, or it used to, the Elm philosophy. which I'm a big fan of. So we'll use hyperwrap. And to do it, just do yarn add hyperwrap. And we're also going to probably use parcel. Parcel is a packager for JavaScript. So this is going to get us the... this is probably also where I have to give up Vim and move over to VS Code. Parcel is going to give us packaging for our files. So it'll bundle any JavaScript that we do out of the React or the React-like syntax that we use into regular JavaScript. The other nice thing about Parcel is that it has a built-in web server that we can use. Yeah, Parcel Serve, Parcel Watch. So that's handy. I'm just rethinking my folder structure here. Because... yeah, I'm going to need a source folder. And then I'm going to need a dist folder for distribution. So... I think that's about right. And I believe we start everything off with an index.html when we're doing React. Yeah, and an index.js. Real simple there. So let's come up here. This is, I think I'm going to give up Vim and switch over to VS Code, just because it's going to be a lot easier to work with at this point. Okay. And let me make sure I have all the right extensions installed. I don't really need React Native, I just need React. Is it just native to VS Code now? Yep, it is. So I don't have to install any extensions because it's just in VS Code now. Okay. Oh, but you know what? Hang on a second. I'll bet the tag autocomplete isn't part of it anymore. Auto close tag. Yup. Get that in there. That's asinine. I don't know why I shouldn't have to install that. That should just be a default. Right. Nope, no body. Just, script source equals index.js. This is probably small for you. Let me make that a little bit more readable. And let's get index.js up. Nothing special at the moment, just to prove that it's working. And I guess I can kill the Vim stuff at this point. So we'll run parcel serve in the top here. Oops, let's the front end, then parcel serve source index.html. Yep. So then we get our local server running at localhost 1234. Okay, so our front end is getting started. Now we need to get HyperApp working. So to do that, we're gonna in source, we're gonna do yarn init. And then yarn add HyperApp. And we have a lot that we need to do from a Git standpoint, but for now, let's just get our HyperApp stuff working. So with HyperApp, import htext. So H is the HyperApp runner, like it'd be like React. And then text is a text node. Yeah, H is like the HyperApp version of create React element. Yeah. This has admittedly changed quite a bit from the last time I used it. But let's check out some more examples here. So we'll and so the basic idea, so just like with Elm, where you have messages basically or tasks that you can do to update your state, you define those and then it returns a new state. And then your app is made of an init state, a view, and a node, so a node to attach to, and that's it. So here we'll just do main equals app, and let's try some of this. So I'm not going to leave. This is cool. I actually like that this is all declarative and I don't have to do markup as much. Although I do wonder. I guess, yeah, I give it options for classes and stuff. That's pretty cool. I can do that. So here, actually, it's everything I like about Elm without the insane syntax. So we're gonna just run app. Cool, it's picking that up from HyperApp. So init is gonna be we'll call it cards. And then the view is going to be we're going to destructure the state, whatever that is, just to get cards out of it. And we're going to get out of there IntelliSense. We're going to return H main, I guess, with no options, and then an array of children. And I'm gonna assume that it's class name. And that its child is a text node of hacker strategies. And after that, the view takes a node, I guess. Wait. Yeah. Document dot get element by ID. app. All right, what did I screw up here? It looks good. The view, the function of H, that's closed. Oh, wait. Is that the problem? That's the problem. Okay. So we saved that. The parcel server should sort us out. So if I reload this... No? It didn't pick up that file change? Really was supposed to. But it's working. We've got hacker strategies going. Now, one thing with these kinds of... well, we'll get there in a second. Next thing we're going to do is we're going to define a little bit more in terms of its... structure. Now, this can get unwieldy quickly, and it's for that reason why I think you probably want to turn some of these into ad hoc functions. Like so. Where... let's maybe call it a card button. And give it the API endpoint, right? And then we'll say... Actually, I don't need the curlies because... So it's going to be a button. Options will be... You know, type button. Class name. Oh, I forgot to check if the class name actually worked. Yep, it did. That's cool. Class name equals headline. Oops, wrong place. Class name gonna be card button and red. Well, actually, it should be like this. We'll leave it like this for now. We'll mess with some of the extra nonsense later. Now, if we look at the hacker or the hyper app example, Hmm. Which we'll define later. And so with that, what I can do, right, is I can use a card button of red. And actually, I don't even need the API. There we go. Card button red, and then call it red card, like that. That makes more sense. And then card button. This IntelliSense is getting out of hand. Is it better if I'm zoomed out? Or is it as obnoxious? Okay. How you doing, Parcel? Still not actually reloading. So interesting that this isn't working. Okay, it updates that, but doesn't like my card buttons. Well, we've got a good start. We have the API working, and I'll finish this, maybe next week. So we're off to a good start. I think we're going to call it there for tonight. So everybody, have a good night. Be good to each other. Be good to yourselves. And I will be back on Saturday with some cool blue team stuff. I have some fun plans ahead. So take care until then.